I'm very grateful for everyone being here today. It really means a lot. As we're sitting and getting very still for a moment so that we can center ourselves, let's begin to move the breath and explore 3 different directions that the breath can move, and see if practicing these different movements can help calm us and settle us down a little bit. Let's first work with the front and back breath. On this next inhale, move the breath into the front of the body as well as the back of the body on the inhale, and then let the exhale relax. This practice should help release tension in the diaphragm, which can become tense and restricted during times of high levels of stress. Again, it's the front body and the back body. Now let's move our hands, if you want to touch these places, to the sides of the body and move the breath sideways. And now let's place one hand at the very top at the collarbones and the other hand all the way down at the bottom of the belly. I move the breath up and down. As we're exploring these 3 different directions that the breath can move, please understand that some areas may be more challenging than others. Just practice and explore what happens. Let's relax our arms, turn the palms up, and see if we can take a few breaths now where we breathe into all 6 of those directions. Up and down, left and right, and forward and back. That would be a deep inhalation to do that, and then a soft exhalation. And as you're exhaling, let the woes and worries and frustrations of the day go by. Now, after the next full inhalation, all 6 directions, followed by the exhalation, where you release, softly return to your quiet, regular breath. Take another breath now, and exhale, release your head forward. While your head is facing down, open your eyes so the gaze is soft at first, and then lift your head. Let's do our shoulder opener. Inhale your arms up, weave the fingers together, and turn the palms skyward. As you're stretching the arms up, bow your head forward. Remember, you can always take the arms apart if there's a shoulder issue. Let's release the arms and then twist to your right. I still get to mirror you. And release and twist to your left. Then release and stretch your legs out in front of you. Pump your thigh muscles to help re-stabilize the knees. And let's sit in Baddha Konasana for a moment. Let's let the feet open up and the knees drop down. You can use your arms beside you to help hold the spine upright, or you can use your hands or your forearms to press the thighs out and down. It's very important for us to remember that this is an all levels class. So sometimes I'm going to mention some of the variations that we can do to make it a little bit more adaptable for someone who might be a little bit newer to yoga. Most of you I know, but a few of you are new to me. So I'm just going to make sure that we all have an enjoyable and safe practice. Let's lift our legs up, stretch the legs out again, and let's go into downward facing dog. If you will, cross your shins like this, roll over onto your hands and knees, and then lift your pelvis up away from the floor in downward facing dog. Now, if you have some issues that make downward facing dog difficult, if it's a very new posture to you, you can always do a half dog while on your knees and just stretch your arms forward. While you're in your downward facing dog, you could alternately bend your knees and press the opposite heel to the floor. And then straighten the legs, lift the pelvis backwards and upwards, and then take a deep breath and exhale, step your feet forward to the front of your mat. If your hands don't touch the floor, just to be safe in your low mat, it'll be a good idea to place your blocks under your hands. Now release the head and neck. Relax your shoulders. Bend your knees and then inhale, come up. And bring your hands to your heart. Now tonight, we're just going to do a up dog, down dog vinyasa, just to sort of warm up the body and the spine. As you're doing yours, I'm going to also remind a few others what they could do as an option. But let's start in the forward bend. Take a deep breath, inhale, reach the arms up, and exhale, Uttanasana. Come to the half forward bend, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, everyone step their feet back. Now you can come into downward facing dog, and then you can start your journey of inhale into up dog, and exhale into down dog. Try to get between 9 and 10. You can also put your knees down and do child's pose and a modified cobra with your elbows straight. You could also, a simpler version would be stay on all fours and do the cat and the cow. And I've got really good news for you. It wouldn't matter which variation you did, you won't be judged because you're in your home doing your own practice. If anyone judges you, it'll be yourself, and that's pretty much not of any value at all. So keep it going. And when you hit your 9th or 10th one of whichever practice you're doing, come back into the downward facing dog and step your feet back up to the front of the mat in the forward bend. Once you're there, pause and just breathe. Let the back body release. So another forward bend. And then let's all come up. Inhale up, you come. Good. Now let's do our tonight's focus, because each time I design a practice, it's sort of like one night last week we did a general practice, then we did a lot of hip openers, then we did some shoulder stuff. Tonight we're going to work on standing postures. I'm sure that excites a lot of you. But one of the things I like about standing postures is that once you go through the gamut of them, and don't worry, we won't do all 30 of them, but once we go through the gamut of them, it really helps you feel invigorated. You have to work a little bit at first, but in the end, the rewards are incredible. Let's start in mountain pose with the feet together, the thigh muscles contracted, the lower abdominals lifted, the shoulder bones back, and the shoulder blades down the back. Now, when we step the feet apart for triangle pose, if this is new to you, that block might be pretty far down to the floor when you try to reach out of your right leg. You could also use a piece of furniture like the edge of your sofa, a chair, a table, anything that you've got in your house. For example, I'll demonstrate using a chair, stepping the feet apart and reaching out over the right leg and placing the hand in the chair seat helps me to find a stable and safe place to practice. Right, now for all of us. And if you've already gone to the pose, don't worry, it's okay. We're getting ready to all catch up with you. Inhale, step your feet about 4 feet apart. Turn the left foot in and the right leg out. Check to make sure that you feel connected to the ground with your feet. The thighs are firm, the pit of the abdomen is lifted, and your shoulders are not dropping forward. Then reach out over the right leg and place your hand on the block. If you don't have a block, you can place your hand on your leg or the chair, the furniture. Just don't let the weight of the pose, the upper body fall into your knee joint. So you might actually want to micro bend your knee a little bit, just to remind yourself not to lean into the knee joint. Now it's important to keep the thigh muscles contracted through all of the standing postures. This way will help develop leg strength and stability of the pelvis and the knees. Let's inhale and come up. Turn the feet forward, and now let's do the other side. Right foot in and the left leg out. Reach out over your left leg and place your hand down on your block. Now for those of you who are new to this pose, it's important to realize that this shoulder should not drop forward. So if it does, there's a chance that you've gone too low in the posture. So it might be good to come up a little bit higher. Remember, you've got furniture in your house that you can put your hand up on instead of a block, or if you don't have one, or the floor, or your leg. Another idea is to use books. Use books. A stack of books. One more breath. Inhale, up you come. Turn your feet forward, bend your knees, and then either step or jump your feet together. Return to Tadasana. Now we'll do Baddha Konasana, which is the extended side angle pose. In this posture, some of us will be using the blocks again, and some of us may have open enough hips and a wide enough stance that we don't need the blocks. Let's do it. On your inhale, take your feet wide, about 4 feet. Left foot in and right leg out. When you bend that right knee, see if you get, how low can you go? Can you get that thigh bone pretty parallel to the floor? Keep the knee over the ankle and down to the floor you go with your right hand. And then that left arm is going to shoot over your ear. Now, if you look at me, you're going to see if you can create that long straight line in the left side of your body. If my feet are too close together, look what my hip does. So I want to have that stance as wide as I can, but keep that right knee back against that right arm. And now use the strength of your legs, the momentum of this left arm, and your breath to bring you up. Inhale. Exhale. The feet and legs will turn forward. Right foot in, left leg out. Time for the other side. Inhale and exhale. Now watch that knee. You want to stay over the ankle and the thigh to be pretty close to parallel to the floor. It doesn't have to be perfectly parallel, but we're trying to challenge ourselves and have a nice wide stance so we can work the legs. If you notice, I don't turn my head to look up. You could, but chances are a lot of us, when we go to look up, we create some tension in the neck. And so if you feel that, then just keep looking forward. Take a deep breath in. And again, the strength of your legs, that inhale and that arm, bring you up. Turn the feet forward. Bend the knees. Inhale. And as you exhale, step the feet together. Arms by your side. Oh, this is when you realize Maybe it was a mistake to have turned the heat up today because we're starting to generate some heat and get a little warm. Okay, Virabhadrasana 1. Stand in the middle of your mat. Now, because we have some newer students, I'm going to do this pose. The torso and the legs, the bottom part of the pose first, and then we'll add the arms. Let's have our hands on our hips. Step your feet wide apart. Again, about 3.5 to 4 feet. You can go a little bit narrower in your stance if you find that it's hard for you to keep your heel down. Now, the left leg has to turn in about 60 degrees and the right leg out 90. You want to check and make sure that your left hip has turned to face the wall that your right hip is also facing. And then inhale, lift your lower abdominal muscles again, and exhale, bend the right knee. And that knee should end up over that ankle. And the back leg, do you see how my knee is bending? You want to get that leg powerfully strong and straight. Now that we've got the lower body and the torso, let's add the arms. Take your arms out to the side, turn the palms up, and then reach your arms by your ears. Now, when you do this posture, if you have any issues in your shoulders, you could opt to do a variation with your elbows bent like this, like a goalpost. The legs are working. The torso is lengthening upwards. The arms are opening at the shoulders. Take a deep breath, inhale, straighten the right leg, turn your legs forward, and let's lower the hands and place them on the hip again. Let's do the other side. The right leg has to turn in well, or it helps to leave the hip behind. We want the hip to come with us as we turn the left leg out. With your hands on your pelvis, you can kind of judge, did I turn my back leg in enough to get my right hip forward? Let's go ahead now, and on our next exhale, bend the left knee. Take a little peek. Is the knee over the ankle? Also, check out your back leg. Make sure that thigh is working to keep the knee straight. Take your arms out to the side, turn the palms up, and reach your arms by your ears. Now we'll do the pose, Virabhadrasana 1, or Warrior 1, for a few breaths. And by the way, if you're here and everything is working well for you, in the posture, we begin to look up. We can also, if the shoulders are open, begin to bring the hands close together, palms can meet. But I wouldn't worry about that variation if it causes my shoulders or my neck to be uncomfortable. Be strong in your legs. Inhale, straighten the left leg and turn your legs to face forward again. Bend the knees as you inhale and exhale, step your feet together. That was 3 lateral standing poses going from side to side. Periodically, it's nice to take a little break and do an asymmetrical practice. So let's do forward bend. Take a deep breath, reach your arms up, inhaling, and exhale, forward bend. Bend the knees, inhale up you come. Bring your hands together and then exhale your hands down to your heart. Wonderful. Now we'll do Virabhadrasana 2. Bring the feet back all the way together, arms by your side. The posture where we begin all of our standing poses. Bend the knees as you inhale, step the feet wide apart on the exhale. Turn the left foot in and the right leg out. Just like the Baddha Konasana posture, the side angle pose, we want a wide stance so we can try to get this thigh bone level to the floor and this knee right over the ankle. So check yourself out. Are you being sneaky and leaning to that right leg, or are you keeping the torso pretty perpendicular between the 2 legs? In this posture, it feels good to turn the head, usually. We don't have the head hanging out, being pulled on by gravity. We're not worried about a side bend in the spine that sometimes we don't have quite lined up well so that we can then do rotation. This is the posture that we can hold 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, You're muted, but I can hear your comments now. Straighten the right leg, inhale, and turn your legs forward, exhale. Let's do the other side. Right foot in, left leg out. Inhale and exhale. Bend the left knee. Again, try to watch that spine. Keep it perpendicular and then gaze over your left fingertips. Keep that back leg strong. You know, more than ever, we need to pay attention to keeping our bodies strong and healthy. So challenging yourself like this helps to build a strong body and a strong immune system. Straighten your left leg, inhaling, turn your feet forward, exhale. Bend the knees, inhale, exhale, step your feet together. And by the way, if you like jumping, please, by all means. Now we'll do the revolved triangle pose. This one's like warrior two. It's a little tricky to get the legs right because you've got to get the pelvis to go from facing forward to facing to the side. We'll place our blocks on the mat again. Where you place your blocks will depend on where you practice usually. Some people practice with the block in front of the foot, and some people with very open hamstrings, very open hips and spinal muscles practice with the block on the back of the foot. So you've got your block set up for you. If it's hard to go down in the pose without rounding your spine, you might again want to use a piece of furniture or a chair. Let's try and see what happens. Stand in mountain pose. We'll put the arms in the posture after we get set up. Step the feet wide apart. Once again, that left leg has to turn in about 60 to 70 degrees, and it's the whole leg, so the pelvis will come around and now face the wall to your right. And you turn the right leg out. So with your hands on your pelvis, you now can figure out, did I turn enough? Have I got enough adjustment in the pelvis? Did it go a full 90 degrees to the right? Let's lift just the left arm up. That'll be the arm that guides you into this forward bend and twist on an exhale. Forward bend, reach down for your block and begin to twist. I'm going to actually change where I'm standing and do the pose now so that I can be facing. Now, once you turn, if your right shoulder ends up over your left shoulder, then you can take the arm up. If you do take the arm up, but you didn't quite make the full rotation, just don't throw the arm back so we don't impinge the posterior joint capsule of the shoulder. Oh, by the way, don't forget to keep your legs strong. And don't forget to lift the lower abdominal muscles. The spine appreciates you keeping that abdominal support when you're doing a twist. It's a little tricky to come out of the twist, so let's be strong in the legs and sort of just spiral our way out. Are you ready? Here we go. Inhale, up you come. Oh, almost knocked the candle over. Exhale. Let's do the other side. So now turn your right leg in and your left leg out. And now we're facing the other wall. Check the pelvis before you bend forward. Did I really make the turn completely? Is my pelvis completely 90 degrees from where it was facing forward? Lift your right arm up. Inhale and exhale. Bend forward and twist. So now I'm facing you, but you may be facing away from me. But you can always take a little peek and see what I'm up to. If you make the twist, take your left arm up. There are always ways to do this variation a little bit easier. If I have a chair handy of any sort, I can simply put my hand up on that chair. A kitchen chair, even the kitchen counter. You could be even up as high as the kitchen counter and do the twist. That way, it's accessible to everyone. Now take a deep breath, inhale. Come out and exhale, your feet are turning forward. Bend the knees, inhale and exhale, step your feet together. Okay, we've done 2 more standing postures. It's time for another symmetrical folding forward because the next posture, oh, you're gonna love it. I know because so many of you love to balance and challenge yourself with that going from side to side in half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So inhale, up you come. And exhale, Uttanasana. Forward bend again. A little teeny bend in the knees always helps your back when you're coming up, inhaling. And then exhale. Okay, now look to the right and the left of your mat. Is there anything that you need to clear out of the way so that you can go from triangle pose and move your block out a little bit, about 12 inches from your foot into half moon? So I do need to move a little something over here, and then I'm going to set my other block up to go to the left. That side is clear. Half moon. I can sense the excitement through the internet waves. Inhale and step your feet wide apart. Left foot in, right leg out. Return to triangle pose. By the way, if you're newer to yoga or your balance is off, back up to a wall, all the way to a wall, and do the practice with me here at the wall. Put your left hand on your hip and look down. Bend the right knee and step the left foot to the right foot. Then move your block out, but keep the thumb behind the little toe. And then when I lift the left leg up, I'm going to lean back against the wall. But those of you that have good balance tonight, go ahead up and balance in the room. But remember, the wall for me is right behind me, so I won't lose my balance. It supports me completely. Now, for those of you who are very seasoned practitioners, if you look, my spine is level with my leg. If you go down on the block, you should go up with the leg. Leg, spine still level. Down with the block. Leg, spine still level. Okay, return to triangle pose. Let's do it before we get too pooped out. Bend the knee, stretch back. Bring the block back if you got it. And pause in Trikonasana. Take a deep breath in. Up you come. Turn your feet forward. Hands on your hips. Let's go to the other side. Take the arms back up. Turn the right foot in and the left leg out. Reach out over your left leg. Trikonasana. Let's take the right hand, place it on the hip. For those of you who are challenged in your balance, make sure your back is against the wall. Bend the left knee, step the right foot up to the left foot, and move that block out. It should go about a foot away from your foot, but stay towards the back of the foot, and then up you come. Again, if you have the ability to sense your leg and your torso, they should form, the spine and the leg should be two parallel lines, and I'm speaking of the right leg. The left leg is a perpendicular line to the floor. If you fall out of the pose a little bit early, it's okay. Don't worry, no one will know. It's kind of nice. I mean, I miss the camaraderie of the class, but if you fall out of the pose, you don't have to know, oh, the class just saw me fall out. No one will ever know. Bend your knee, come down, Trikonasana again. Again, strong legs. Inhale, up you come. Turn your feet forward. Hands on your hips. Legs come together. And pause and feel. I mean, my goodness, think of how many forward bend, side to side poses we've done now. And you want to assess, how does all that make me feel? And if you like the vibration, the sensations in your body, well, just remember them. It's not that difficult. It was triangle pose, side angle pose, warrior one, warrior two, revolved triangle pose, and half moon. 6 lateral standing poses. Now let's bring them all together with the wide-legged forward bend. Prasarda Padottanasana. Let's place the blocks in front of us in case, and you might not need them, but I'm going to use them in case that when we come to stage 2, and we're trying to make the spine a little bit longer before we go forward, I have the opportunity to have some height. Step your feet wide apart. Now we know that there's a lot of different level practitioners in the class, so I'll go over a few different points. Turn your feet in just a little bit to make sure that you're not turning the feet out. Squeeze your thighs, lift the lower abdominals, and keep your chest lifted. Inhale, and as you exhale, bend forward and place your hands on the floor of the blocks. If you look at me from the side, what we're hoping that we can do at this moment is to make the spine extended, not rounded yet, long like this. Take another deep breath, and this time as you exhale, walk your hands back between your feet. And then bend your elbows and let your head either hang from the shoulders with the shoulders lifted, or bring your head all the way down to the floor. Now pause and breathe. You don't have to use a head support, but if you wanted to, you could put a blanket or a block underneath your head while you're hanging out here. Walk your hands out. Have the weight of the body a little bit on your hands, and then wiggle the feet together. Have the knees bent, hands on your hips. Inhale up, you come. Good. All right, so now we've blended all of the work of the standing poses into a nice long spine and a forward bend. So now we'll do some twisting. So let's have a seat. This is Matsyangasana. And we have to give you a lot of variations because there's a lot of different levels of practitioners. First, let me show you what would be ideal. The right leg is going to be in the hero's pose. So it would be bent and you'd be on the top of the foot like that. The pelvis shifts a little bit onto the left hip when you do that. That's fine. This leg goes into the bound ankle pose. It's bent and the big toe lines up with the knee. Now this is not everyone's cup of tea. So you might find that if you elevate yourself on a couple of folded towels or blankets or sofa cushion, that it becomes a little bit more accessible. I'll put this under the pelvis on the left side mostly, and now this leg is not so tense, and the top of the foot is not being ripped away from the bone. You could also, if it's too uncomfortable and you can't quite get the needle point straight ahead and you can't be on the top of the foot, why not just leave the leg out of the pose? Just leave the leg forward. And we'll just do it this way. Now I'm going to go back to the variation with my right leg in the hero pose and my left leg in the bound ankle pose. Take your right hand, place it on your left knee. The left hand is behind you with the arm straight to help lift the spine. We said earlier that when we were in revolved triangle pose that you have to inhale and get lifted and then exhale, do the twist. And that's what we'll do now. Inhale, feel the lift. Use your left arm to help and exhale, do the twist. Bring your left ribs back as you bring your right ribs forward. And then release. And then switch sides. Once again, it's nice to just stretch the legs out and give them a break. And then, if the left leg won't go into bound ankle pose, either elevate yourself a little higher on props, so you're sitting up, then the leg might cooperate with you better, or just leave the leg out straight. The twist will still happen even if this leg isn't in the posture. The left hand to the right knee, the right arm behind you. Let's do it. Inhale, get lifted, and exhale, turn. One of the things I like about this particular twist is you're not having to sit up perfectly straight against gravity. You get to actually lean off center a little bit. So it helps you to get that feeling of lift a little bit more effectively. It feels like you don't have to fight gravity so much. Let's release. Now let's repeat the twist again. And this time we'll take it another step forward. No matter how you set yourself up, repeat it so that the twist will go to the left, either on blankets, elevate it so you're higher, and that way that decompresses the knee, or leave this leg out. But regardless, we're going to take the hands that were here, right hand on the left knee and the other arm behind you, and that right hand is going to lean back and join you. I'm going to turn around so you can see it more clearly. Here's what the pose looks like from behind. Let's add an extra step though before we actually take the hands behind us. Lift your right hip up and scoop it to the right heel, and then bring that right hand to join the left hand. So now we're doing it with our arms straight, and what we'll do with both of those arms is push the arms to the left as we twist to the right. So the arms will both help us with lift and both help us with twist. Again, notice that I'm not sitting up straight. It's an off the center axis practice. Let's release and do the other side. Remember, lift the right hip, scoop it towards the heel, then bring that left hand back to join the right arm. And here we go. Inhale, lift, and exhale, twist. Every time you inhale, use your arms and those lower abdominal muscles to help you with the spinal lift. And that way, when you're twisting by pushing your hands to the left, you don't compress your vertebrae into each other. You've created space for them. And then release. Oh, that felt refreshing. I think that you're probably doing so good that we could take it to another practice, another level. In this practice, what we'll do, we'll take the hands apart. They were here, elbows straight. Both of the hands will move equally away from the center and the elbows bend, and you're going to lower your torso a little bit more to the floor. Remember this. When you do stages in a practice, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and this will be considered stage 3, if you felt that this was going to be too difficult for you, then you will go back to stage 2 or stage 1. So you always have a place to practice. You may have that right leg out straight. Remember, it's not imperative that it be in the bound angle, in the hero pose. Remember that we took the right arm behind, the left arm behind us, and the right hand to the knee, and then the right hand joined the left hand. Remember that I, in the demonstration, said take the hands and move them both equally away from the midline, and then bend the elbows so that you suddenly are like a little bug down on the floor. Now notice that my left shoulder is lower than my right shoulder if you can see your screen. So what I'll do is inhale, get those lifts from the pit of the abdomen and sides of the waist, and exhale, push the left hand, lower the right shoulder, you see. So you try to get the torso more level. Sometimes people have the right hand too close to them, so they end up looking like this with the right shoulder way high. What would help is to wiggle the right hand away from the midline and bend the elbow more. So it really looks like you're getting ready to do push-ups almost. Let's take a few more breaths here in practice. Inhale with the lifts and exhale, try to turn deeper. Out you come, stretch the legs out. We have one more side to do. We were here. Oh, and don't forget, lift the hip and scoop the hip towards the heel. If I ever forget to tell you that, you don't forget it. So now your hands are behind you, and you take your hands wide. I'm a little bit too, let me back up some so you can see my hands better. And then bend the elbows. Once again, my left shoulder is higher than my right. So what I'll do is bend that left elbow more and push more with the the right hand. Get that right arm working. And if your foot pops out, you just reach back, grab it and put it back. You sort of look like you're doing push-ups. And remember, you're in control. It's all about you. And hope that what you're experiencing with this is wringing out some of the tension that we carry around in the spinal muscles. Let's release. Inhale, come up. And stretch your legs out in front of you. Exhale. Good. Wiggle your feet around, wiggle your toes around. The foot that's in the hero's pose is the one that really gets the deep stretch. So sometimes it's just nice to sit and wiggle the feet and give them their power back. Okay, good. Now we're going to do bridge pose and some variations in the bridge pose. Oh, you know what? I want to actually, my mind was telling me earlier today to make sure that if we're not practicing headstand, that we're practicing preparations for headstand. So let's go over that first, and then we'll come back to bridge. So let's go over the hand position. You interlace the fingers like this, but you don't squeeze the hands together. You keep a cup there in the hands, as if there's an egg there. So I'm holding an egg. The fingers are web to web, and the little finger here that's going to get squashed is the one that actually keeps me tilted onto my wrist. The thumbs for now can just relax on top of each other. When I put my forearms down, I want to have the elbows right beneath the shoulders. You can see that better if I do my practice this way first. So you see, let me back up again so you can see me in the camera. The shoulder is right over the wrist. So be careful. Look what I've done. I've let my elbows go too wide. So I want to pay attention to this. Now the head won't go on the floor for tonight unless you want it to. But what we'll all be doing together is just seeing if we can come up a little bit for even a breath or two and get our upper body to work to get us ready if we ever want to go up into headstand. And by the way, even if you never did a headstand, this does help strengthen your upper body. Push the forearms down and then lift up and feel the shoulder blades widen. Tuck your toes, and on your next exhale, lift the knees up. So you're in like a downward facing dog. Notice that my head is not on the floor, but I'm not going to hold the head. I'm going to let it relax. Keep pressing the forearms and keep widening the shoulder blades. And then hold it for as many breaths as you can. Some of us may have already come down. Just rest in child's pose. It's okay. And let's all do that now. Just come down and rest in child's pose. It's important, I think, that we find ways to maintain stability in the shoulder girdle. The shoulder joint is so complex, it's easy for it to get injured in just everyday activities, repetitive movements that are not designed for the good functioning with the shoulder joint can end up irritating something in the joint. A practice like this done well can actually help create and train the shoulder for stability. Let's do it again. Interweave the fingers, make sure there's a cup in the hand. Press the forearms down, look at the elbows and make sure they're beneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes, and on your exhale, lift the knees up. If you decided you didn't want to do this a second time, you could just do it while keeping your knees down. You're still going to get some work, and you're still going to train your shoulders to work in a stabilized way, and that comes from when you spread the shoulder blades. Take a deep breath, and everyone now on your exhale, come down and rest in child's pose. That felt good. Now, let's work on opening the shoulders. I promised bridge pose, and I know how much you all love it. So let's do something to help those shoulders open. You could simply interlace the fingers behind you, roll the shoulders towards each other, and then lift your arms. And if you feel like that's a good stretch for you, continue to do that. Another way, if the shoulders feel super tight, is take your belt, fold it in half, so there's not so much belt flying all over the place. Hold the belt so that it's about shoulder distance apart, with the palms facing forward. And by forward, I mean they'll face the screen if you're facing me. Then pull the shoulders back and then lift your arms. And you can see that when I hold the belt, I can get a higher lift, which means I'm getting more stretch in the shoulder muscles. Shoulder blades are down and together, arms lifted, and right here, this part of the rib cage, the sides of the rib cage, are trying to lift. One plus that you could add with this practice is bow your head forward. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, release. There. Now our bridge pose. Lie on your back, and we're going to tuck those shoulders under as well. You can hold that belt just like that when you're doing bridge pose too if you have tight shoulders. Step the feet close to your hips. Lift your pelvis just a little bit. Either hold the mat, hold the belt with the palms up, or interweave your fingers. Then tuck up your shoulders under you so you're up on the shoulders. Press the feet, lift the hips, press the shoulders. And then hold and breathe. And I just did something I told you never do, but that was because I wanted to make sure that I was in the right place. But don't turn your head. I always am risking my well-being for your higher education. Take a deep breath, inhale, and as you exhale, release. Now that felt good, so let's take it to a different place. Let's try the one-legged Bandha Sarvangasana, the Ekapada. This will be optional. You don't have to do it. But what that means is we're going to bring the feet closer together once we're up and lift one leg at a time up. Now, since I don't want you to turn your head and look at the screen, it might be a good idea to see me do it first. I'll do a very quick demonstration. You ready to go? Okay. Lift the pelvis. Take the hands under you or hold the mat or hold the belt. Interweave the fingers if you're going to weave the fingers together. Tuck those shoulders. You got to be on the shoulders and not the shoulder blades and not your neck. Then after you're in the posture, wiggle the feet together. Then place your weight on your left foot and take the right leg up. This will be called Ekapada Bandha Sarvangasana. We'll see if we can hold it for a few reps. If you feel yourself starting to sag and you can't lift yourself back up, it may mean that you've had enough time in the pose. We'll come down and repeat to the other side. So let's all try that now, because now you don't need me to see the screen. Have your feet close to you, lift your hips, and take your fingers together or hold your belt or hold the mat. Now that you've got yourself in the posture, because we have the feet apart when we first come up because it'll be a little bit easier to move into a hip extension. And now we're going to wiggle the feet together. Stay grounded in your left foot and take the right leg up. Now hold that there while putting a lot of work in that left leg. Hold it. If you feel like you're sagging and you need to come down, it'll be okay. Let's all release and place the right foot down. And don't worry if you had to come down early. You're the only one who knows. Let's shift. Put the weight on the right foot and lift your left leg up. Okay, the leg is getting tired. So we got to work that right leg a little bit harder. Keep pressing up to your left heel at the same time. Now put the left foot down, release your hands, and come down. Now while you're here, go ahead and take your feet apart and let your legs rock side to side. This is always such a soothing, cooling practice to do after you've done a lot of leg work. You actually did quite a lot tonight, a lot of standing postures. They cover a lot of territory. Now let's go to the right And then take your right foot and place it on the outer left knee to actually draw that leg down and give that whole left side waist an extra stretch. Don't do this if it causes knee pain in your left knee. Okay, release and put the foot back down where it was, a little wide from the other foot, and rock over to the other side. Put the left foot on the outer right knee and pull the knee down. Again, we're trying to open up the waist and the hip, and there's a little spinal twist in there. And then release. Okay, now bring the feet together and squeeze the right knee into the chest. Release the right leg, bring the left knee into the chest. And release the leg, and then bring both knees into your chest. Hold both knees tight into your chest and rock side to side and massage that back body. This always feels so good. And then place the feet on the floor. And before we actually set up for Savasana, let's just do some simple pelvic tuck and tilt, just to make sure that we're keeping the pelvis and the spine. We're able to continue to keep the movement of those two differentiated. A lot of times when we hold a lot of tension in the body, which seems quite possible these days, we get really rigid around this particular movement. So I thought I should really start throwing this in and making sure that we stay mobile in the lower spine region. So it's a very simple pelvic tilt, and your pubic bone drops between your legs and the low back archless, and then you tuck and the low back flattens a little bit, the pubic bone lifts. So back and forth, just a couple more rounds. Good, and then pause and just assess how you feel. You are the one that gets to decide how a practice affects you. That's the study of yourself, Svidhyaya. Now, once you've done that, you can roll over to your side and gather the props that you're going to use to set up for relaxation. So you've got everything in your home you could gather together and make it an extremely comfortable practice. I like to remind people, because this is sometimes you see the little boxes beginning to disappear and you think, no, you don't want to skip this. And I'll remind you again what B.K.S. Iyengar would say. He'd say, this is the most important practice. This is where you actually begin to heal yourself after you've done the asana. Because everything you've done, all that work, all those standing poses, now get to be soaked into the nervous system and the tissues and the cells of your body. Let's get set up and practice Shavasana. Now I'll be bringing you out. So make sure your room is dim and that you're warm and that you're comfortable. And trust that if you were to fall asleep in just a moment, I will bring you out. Make sure that from the top of your head all the way down to the toes, you do your body scan. Make sure that you're extremely relaxed. Take a slow, deep breath into your beautiful body. And then exhale. Bend your knees. And rock gently your legs side to side. And then roll all the way over to your right and pause. Lie there for just a moment. And then use your arms and press yourself up to sit comfortably. The light within me sees all of you, adores all of you, and honors all of you. Namaste.